Hey guys, welcome back to the video, and today I want to discuss this past season by the New York Mets. It was obviously an up and down season with a lot of highs and a lot of lows, but overall it was exciting. So basically to sum it up, the season started off rather slow with lackluster play, and then they were kind of out of it at the All-Star break. But after the All-Star break, they had that famous 15-game winning streak, and they were back in it. And they made the September baseball meaningful, and they played meaningful games at Citi Field for the first time since 2016. And that was an amazing sight. It made it fun to go to Met games. I went to many Met games this year, and it was playoff atmosphere like I've never seen since years past. And I just want to talk about it. The main downfall is obviously the bullpen and the shortcomings of Edwin Diaz and Jeurys Familia kind of prevented this team from making a playoff spot. I could say that full-heartedly, saying if Edwin Diaz and Jeurys Familia had better outings, this would be a playoff team because they blew a lot of games. So getting into it for individual players, obviously Alonso had an amazing year. Pete Alonso, he's a rookie. This is his first year. He came up. We all knew he could hit, but it was really him playing first base. And this past offseason, he really learned and honed his skills and played pretty good for his first year in the major leagues at first base. But his hitting was undeniably amazing, and he shattered records. He hit 53 home runs, as all you know. He not only did he lead the home runs in the major leagues out of any player, he broke the rookie record from Aaron Judge at 52, and he had that along to add with 120 RBIs, the first time since David Wright that Mets player has had 120 RBIs, and he still hit for 260 average. So that's a respectable average even. So he was amazing. Obviously, you can see here I got my Polar Bear Pete shirt. I got it from a Free Shirt Friday giveaway. It says Polar Bear number on the back of it. It's very nice. And also I want to get him to talk about J.D. Davis. Of course, he came over from the Houston Astros in a trade that was basically like a dump off for the Astros because they didn't need him, because they obviously the Astros have all-stars everywhere. They had no need and no spot for J.D. Davis, and he didn't show anything in the major leagues that made the Astros want to keep him around. Although he's a very good minor league player, and when he was in Fresno AAA for the Astros, he won a batting title in AAA. So the Mets knew that they had talent coming their way, but the fact was he going to produce in the major leagues? And oh boy, did he produce. When Brandon Nimmo went down with an injury this year, and he was out for almost the whole entire season until he came back in August, J.D. Davis kind of played himself into the lineup because of his hitting. And he's a very good breaking ball hitter, obviously, as you can see, and he has a lot of pop, and he is for average. So his deal is that he's got to learn how to play third, because we've seen he can't play third like that well. So it's either third base or, because there's still Cespedes in this roster, so he's going to play the outfield, but who knows if Cespedes isn't even healthy at all anyways, so that's still up in the air. But G. Davis, a really good bright spot this year. He kind of came out of nowhere, essentially. And then another good thing was Amed Rosario. He pretty much came into his own, coming of age, like so to speak. He finally turned into the prospect that we all heard about when he was first came here and was called up. His defense drastically improved this year, extremely. He learned a lot, probably from a lot of mentoring from Robinson Cano. That's another good thing. The veteran presence of Robinson Cano, I think, has helped a lot of players, but mostly Rosario. And also, and he hit 287, 15 home runs, 72 RBIs. A pretty big increase from last year. And going into it, another thing is that third base is open, because I believe that Todd Frazier is not going to be signed. I think he's a guy on the outside. He's not going to be signed back. So third base is open for J.D. Davis to take it, or Jeff McNeil. Now going on to Jeff, he hit for an extremely high average this year. He hit 318, 23 home runs, and 73 RBIs. And there was a point in the season when he led the MLB in batting average. So he's a guy, he's a very free swinger. He's a first pitch swing guy. He gets up there hacking. It's kind of like an old school mentality. He's out there to get a hit any way possible, and that's very nice to see, because in an era with analytics and sabermetrics and all this number stuff and calculations, he's really an old school player, and I like to see that, and he plays hard. So he's a nice player to have also, and he was an all-star this year along with Alonso and Jacob deGrom. And Michael Conforto turned in a .257 average with 33 home runs and 92 RBIs. His fielding is solid. He's a good outfielder, but I feel like he's a player that could hit a 300. He has all the tools. I first saw it when he came up in 2015. He seemed like a very good hitter, like a potential number 3 hole hitter. But I think he kind of got into the home run swing and the whole Bontragle crap that everybody else is into. I understand home runs are a part of this new era, and everybody's being taught to hit the home run. But I think it prevents him from getting on base and getting other hits and hitting the other way and hitting for 300. Because if you pitch him outside, it's an easy out, like, not even kidding. So but you pitch him in and low, he's gonna hit a bomb. So like, it's very easy to pitch to him, I feel. But if he finally learns how to just change his MO and go back to how he always was, I feel like it would be a good thing. And also this year, now going on to the pitching, Jacob deGrom had another Cy Young candidate type of year. He went 11-8 with a 2.43 ERA. It's kind of a toss-up if he gets it. He had very similar stats to the Dodgers, Hinge, and Ryu, but he's ahead of Scherzer. Scherzer had a higher ERA. Mike Soroka is the only other close competitor, but he may get the Cy Young. My theory is Pete Alonso is going to unanimously get the rookie. And then I believe that Soroka is going to be handed the Cy Young, as Pete Alonso is going to be handed the other award. So basically, deGrom, another amazing year. He is pretty much just the representation of consistency. He's just always consistent ever since he came up. He's an amazing guy to have on our team, and we're not taking advantage of his dominance, because whenever he's out there, the Mets can't seem to muster up any offense for him. If he pitched for the Astros, say, he would be like 20-3. I'm not even kidding. Jacob deGrom is that dominant. I've watched almost all of his games. He's like a pitcher that I've never seen. He's just really good. And also, kind of a lackluster season by Syndergaard. There's a thing with me and Noah right now, like, not that I know him, but I'm just trying to say that he seems like he's very, like, a prima donna type. He's snippy with the media. He's snippy on Twitter, as you guys see. But, like, this year he was always complaining about he had to have his personal catcher, Thomas Nido. Thomas Nido is good defensively, and the stats did show that Syndergaard had better production with Thomas Nido, or Tomas Nido, whatever you want to call him. There's no H in it, so it's Tomas apparently. But he can't hit to save his life. So Wilson Ramos is a guy who can handle it and hit for a high average and drive in runs. Meanwhile, Tomas Nido can't. So like, pull up your pants, Noah, and learn how to pitch. Like, you have all tools. You have unhittable things. If you learn to like smarten up and just get better at your craft, he could be another dominant pitcher and he could win Cy Youngs also. So he's just a guy that just needs to learn to just put his nose to the grindstone and work and stop complaining and thinking that like he's this high figure, because he's really not. He really isn't. He's fragile. It's showing he's fragile because of that's what it is. Going on to another pitcher that of note is Zack Wheeler. He had a pretty nice year. He turned it on in the end, but of course he turned it on because he's a free agent. He's going to want a new contract, and the Mets haven't said anything about him walking out or signing. My guess is that he's going to walk and sign somewhere else, because the Mets are known not to give out big contracts to anyone, and the owners, the Wilpons, are always looking to save money. So my theory is that he's not going to come back, and I feel that the ownership made Brodie Van Wagenen trade for Stroman as a replacement for Zach, because they knew already that they were not going to sign him, and they wanted to bring in someone else to make the fan base seem like they're like trying to go for it. Not saying Stroman is not good. He is. He just got off to a rough start, but then he settled in. But he has more cost control, and he's under contract for longer than this year. He has 2 more years after this year. Well, it's already over, so 2 years, I think. It's 2 or 3. And so that's the deal with Stroman and Zack Wheeler. Steven Matz, he was solid. He finally stayed healthy for a whole year. That's a big problem with Matz, is him staying healthy. And it's nice to see. He's a Long Island guy. Me being a Long Island person, it's nice to like see someone who came from your area and was a Mets fan growing up and is now pitching for the team. So it's nice to see that, and hopefully things work out for him and he learns something and becomes more dominant, because he can do it. He's feisty. He's hard. He runs. He's like a position player whenever he hits. He runs out every grounder. He plays hard also, and he gets on himself when he makes mistakes. I like that. He's very fiery. So on from the starters into the bullpen, which was the, let's just say, not so good part. The big piece of the trade that the Mets and Seattle had in the offseason was Edwin Diaz. He was thought to be the next big closer in the major leagues. He had an amazing year on Seattle the previous year, and he came to us and he didn't look like what he did in Seattle. He was a complete opposite. He gave up 15 home runs this year, and most starters give up like 15 home runs in like a whole year, and they have like 200 innings pitched. This guy that doesn't pitch every day, he comes in for an inning and he gives up 15 home runs. So he was horrible. Obviously horrible. It's like so bad. His values plummeted. He had a 5.59 ERA, 15 home runs. And not that far behind him was Jeurys Familia, who had a 5.70 ERA. And his problem is that he can't find the strike zone. The Mets need like a Spanish psychologist or something to get through to those guys, because they have all the stuff. They have the hard pitches and the movement and everything. It's just in between their 2 ears. They just need help in the mental part of baseball. Baseball is a very mental game. I believe it's 90% mental, 10% physical in my mind, and if they get the help that they need, or just get something set straight, they could be good pitchers, and last year could be an aberration. But right now it doesn't look that good. Other than that, the other guys, a pleasant surprise has been Seth Lugo, who had an amazing year. He kind of turned into the closer when Edwin Diaz lost his closing job, and he played good, but he's still hoping to be a starter. He said that in the post-game conferences after the season ended. He still wants to be a starter, which I don't mind, because he can probably do it. Everyone else was kind of average, not really nothing to write home about except for Justin Wilson. He was pretty solid. Um, Also, another thing of note is that Cespedes spent the whole year out on the shelf because at his home in Florida, on his ranch, he hurt his leg and he couldn't play for the whole year. So he's kind of a wild card because if he's healthy and comes in, there has to be some trade talks from the outfielders because they can't get rid of his contract and they have to play him because they're paying him a lot of money. So towards next year in spring training, I would like to see, because if who's going to be the out and out, obviously Juan Lagares is a free agent. He's not going to come back. So maybe you're looking at like, I don't know, maybe Brandon Nimmo not coming back because there needs to be a spot for J.D. Davis in the lineup. He needs to learn how to play third, or Jeff McNeil. Well, pretty much what I'm saying is that a good player who should be an everyday player is going to sit. But injuries always happen, and that's a problem for another day until next year. And also, Mickey Callaway got fired. I'm going to make a separate video on that and potential manager candidates that could come up in the future. The ones that are being spoken about right now are Madden, also Joe Girardi, Carlos Beltran, and Buck Showalter. So those are the options right now. I'll get into that in a separate video. But overall, a pretty good year by the Mets. I mean, they got me into it again. Like, I was into it like I've never been, probably since 2016. Like, they played competitive games for a while, and they have some young players, up-and-coming players on their team that I'm excited for, and I can't wait to see what happens next year because they'll have another year under their belts, and I think they're going to be a playoff team next year. I'm saying that right now. They're going to be a playoff team next year. Alright, thank you guys for watching. Really appreciate it. Like, comment, and subscribe. And pretty soon I'll be getting that Mickey Callaway video out soon, and NFL updates from Sunday. And we'll see you later. Thanks. Bye.